Hello again. This is exposition number 2 for the Silence of the Spiritsong campaign. Tonight we will be introduced to Caesar's character, Kokuro. We'll start tonight's session in the Tangle. On a cool summer evening in the Tangle, beneath the grandeur of the Jowa Evertree, whose colossal canopy stretches overhead like a verdant tent, an unusual tranquility pervades throughout the air. The normally bustling paths and gathering spots of this vibrant community are subdued. The lively chatter and laughter that once echoed through the leafy streets is replaced by a profound silence, a reflection of the spirit song's mysterious cessation. The waxing crescent moon, a slender arc of light, peeks through the intricate lattice of leaves and branches high above, casting a soft, ethereal glow on the undulating roots and earthen paths below. Its light, though faint, weaves through the foliage, creating delicate patterns on the ground that move with a gentle night breeze, as if the very earth itself were breathing. Homes carved into the living wood of the evertree and nestled among its massive roots show signs of life behind closed doors and windows. Flickering candlelight shadows Flickering candlelight shadows dance within, suggesting the quiet activities of the inhabitants who've chosen the warmth and security of their dwellings over the communal joys of taverns and markets. The fragrant aroma of evening meals occasionally drifts through the air, a fleeting reminder of the day's end rituals that continue despite the growing unease. The streets, usually alive with the coming and going of the Tangle's diverse inhabitants, are eerily quiet. Footsteps on the soft earth are rare, and when they do occur, they are quick and purposeful, as if the walkers are eager to return to their homes. The sound of a distant door closing punctuates the silence, a solitary note that fades into the whispering of the leaves. Here and there, small groups of folk can occasionally be seen gathered in dimly lit nooks or under the wide eaves of a communal building, their voices low and serious, the conversations full of speculation and concern about the silence of the spirit song seldom last long. One by one, they disperse, their figures gradually swallowed by the shadows as they make their way back to their homes, leaving the streets empty once more. In this unusual calm, the Tangle seems to be holding its breath, waiting for something or someone to break the silence that has fallen over the Dreamwood. A sense of anticipation is palpable, a collective yearning for the spirit song's return, for the restoration of the harmony and vibrancy that once defined this unique community nestled beneath the protective boughs of the Jowa Evertree. It is on this cool summer night, in these quiet streets of the Tangle, that we find Kokoro. Caesar, can you please describe your character?
Yes. So Kokuro is a Kenku, and he is wearing a like a I want to say like more like it's like reddish, purplish, kind of maybe like a fuchsia magenta type of um, coat. Coat's like very European in design, has fleece. He's also seems to be wearing like hakama pants that are like kind of cinched at the bottom. And one of the first things that you'll notice is that he's also wearing kind of like a hood, like right before his beak. This hood seems to have a very Sita like markings, right? Almost as he's trying to blend in as not who he is. And something else that you'll notice is three very specific things. He carries two short swords. They're wakisashis, so like short katanas, right on the side. And you also see him carrying on the back, on his back, kind of swung around on a strap, is a dark walnut shamisen. which is a type of lute, we can say. It's an instrument that has a black face with a red decorative, like pearlescence inlays, and red strings. So that's kind of what you see.
Very striking figure. And what is Kokoro doing on the streets of the Tangle at this time of night?
Currently, he's probably trying to scope out his next mark, so to say. Kokuro is a little bit of a trickster, somebody who relies on his silver tongue, very charismatic. So he's probably trying to find somebody to play him in a game or try to get some easy money this late at night where there's not too many eyes watching, right?
All right. Unfortunately for Kokoro, the streets are rather empty and marks are difficult to come by at this time. That being said, as you prowl the streets looking for your next victim, um, you hear the sounds of music approaching. You turn a corner and you see 5 Luma holding firefly lanterns walking down the street towards you. And as they approach, you can hear their song.
In the heart of the woods, neath the joyous great height, Delilah stood firm in the darkest of night. Her arrows flew true till her last breath did part. For the spirit song's call lifting in her heart, with a voice but of gold. Winds are sang to the sky, a melody sweet as the moon climbed high in the silence of sorrow. Her music did weave a tapestry of hope for the hearts that grieve. When Humblewood, with his armor aglow, faced the darkness, his heart steady and slow. With each swing of his sword, like riders and sun, he fought till the battle was finally won. Father misty small, yet fierce in his faith, guided his flock through the shadows with his prayers like lanterns. In the night did they shine, a beacon of belief divine in the night. The wolf wild and free on the altar did leap, awakening the heart not from its ancient sleep. With a howl that echoed through time, the space he found their soul.
And
So
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no. So as he's hear this, he'll probably find like a wall or something to kind of perch up, like kind of leg against there, just like really closing his eyes, tuning into the music because he's very musically like inclined, and he'll probably actually take out his shamisen, his lute, and try to kind of pluck along with the melody for a bit.
Nice. And if you go in, since we're in Foundry, if you go into your journal, which should be like the middle icon on top right of your screen, you should see in your player handouts.
Player handouts.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those are the words.
Wow, beautiful.
And as this procession of Luma pass and sing off into the night, this ballad of the Spiritsong, the story of the heroes that brought it into birth, you're perhaps struck by the wide disparity between their song of hope and the birth of the song. And now, at this point, how does the absence of the Spirit song affect Kokoro?
A lot. So Kokuro is not. So he's always been musically inclined. So growing up, um, the the spirit song has always been around and an inspiration that to a point actually drove him to become almost a street performer, right? And like really follow that creativity. So losing the spirit song um, was a huge blow to like his score and kind of like I don't know, like raison d'être, right? Like his reason for being. But in that sorrow, I mean, he was, I'm sure, along with everybody else, he did find another creative escape, right? And he now, instead of, singing joyful songs about the spirit song, most of the time, melodies and street performances are a little bit more um, melancholic, not just like remembering the good times, but also like knowing that the spirit song is no longer around.
As you reflect on the meaning of the spirit song to you personally, you hear what sounds like a hiss behind you, and you realize it's the striking of a match, and you smell the distinct smell of sulfur, and soon followed by what sounds to me like a crackling of embers, and then the pungent scent of a pipe being lit. You turn and see standing in the shadows of Alpine wearing a cloak. And as she takes a long draw from the pipe and pulls it away from her mouth, exhales, it's a beautiful song. Too bad none of it's true.
What do you mean none of it's true? Also, kind of hard not to notice you with the whole pipe thing. Are you trying to be sneaky or?
She smiles at you. If I were trying to be sneaky, you would not have seen me.
Ooh, okay.
Now, you wouldn't happen to be Kokoro, would you?
And how would you know me? Probably of my exploits, my great theater performances, maybe my songs.
Sure.
That doesn't sound
Let's say that.
too reassuring.
A performer of your enormous talent hardly
Please go
goes
on.
unnoticed
Thank
within
you so
this.
much. He bows.
I'm sure you could have done a much better job at that song than those plebs, those hacks.
I mean, they performed it very beautifully, even to the point that it got me kind of plucking along a little bit.
Well, how about you write a song that actually tells what really happened?
So, what did really happen, Miss Vulpine in the dark with the pipe and the smoke?
You
I
can
don't
call
even
me
know your name.
Scarlet.
Scarlet. Okay, Scarlet. What brings you to this side of town, Scarlet?
Well, you, of course.
Now, in what sense of the word do I bring you around?
Well, as a great musician yourself, I'm curious to know what your thoughts of that ballad of the spirit song are. Do you believe that drivel?
Yes, and No and yes. There is, I mean, we've heard stories of what has happened. It's been replicated and sung and acted and performed in all different kinds of way, but as far as the true source of the story, is there really any accuracy to it? Is it just a song or something that we perform to kind of keep hope alive? Or is it truly what happened? I I tend to believe towards the known and the unknown, right? Why choose one side or the other where both can be very viable until we actually have something to concretely point out to what we need or what we know. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, let me present to you a third option. Perhaps these wondrous stories of a spirit song are simply the creation of the wardens as a means to control the masses.
Do you
Would
think
you
this is a conspiracy?
I'm sorry?
Do you think this is a conspiracy?
No, conspiracy, such a grand word. No. I just think some people like power and they find ways to hold on to it. Now, you come from a powerful family now, don't you?
Me? No. No. I'm just a musician, street performer. Just
Of
Joe,
course.
Joe nobody.
Of course. And then one can hardly blame you for turning your back on that life. It's not for everyone. And frankly, I'm quite pleased to find you here amongst the common people.
You still have no idea what you're talking about. But I mean, I wish I was from a fancy family. I really wouldn't be down here if I was, would I now?
Of course not. So tell me, Kokuro, what do you want most?
What do I want most? Freedom. Freedom of being. Freedom of existing. And to be the greatest performer on these streets too. That's definitely up there with everything up there. Got to make a name for myself. Got to make a living somehow.
Of
Right?
course. Freedom. That is a noble cause indeed. I believe everything and everyone should be free to choose the life they wish to. Do you not agree?
I couldn't agree more.
She
Scarlet.
smiles when you say that. Go ahead and make an insight check for me, please.
Let's see here.
All right, that's going to be an 8. She turns quickly away from you and pulls something from her cloak. It is a black lacquered box, perhaps only a few inches by a few inches, maybe a couple inches deep. And it has beautiful mother of pearl inlay on the cover, on the top of it, in the shape of some strange and fantastic beast. She holds it in her hand the free hand, while the other hand is still smoking the pipe. And she looks at it and says, I was hired to find you and to deliver this to you, but only if you answered to my satisfaction.
A gift for me? It's not even my birthday. At a price though? It's not really what you do with gifts, no?
Oh, there's no price. It was simply a test, let's say. And you, my friend, have passed with flying colors. And she extends her hand with the box towards you for you to take.
I approach her very slowly, and I'm actually wondering if I could do like another insight check to see if she's like really, really telling the truth.
All right, go ahead.
I believe her. I grab it so fast.
Perhaps it's the dark shadows or the musty smell of her pipe smoke, but yeah, totally believe her.
I'll just walk up and I'll slowly grab it from her hand and I'll admire it. And I'll ask her, can I open this?
Of course. What's a box if not to be opened?
I open the box.
All right. It opens on a hinge on the back, and it's a beautiful box to start with. You know that you could probably sell this for a good amount of coin itself, the box. And you open it up, and inside, resting there on its own, is a solitary pink feather.
Are you trying to plant something on me right now? Whose feather is this?
She smiles at you and says, why, it's Freedom's.
Freedom's feather?
Keep that safe, Kokuro. You will need it sometime very soon.
With who? For what? Why? When? Where? Scarlet, love.
Of that I cannot tell you, simply because I do not know. I was simply told to deliver the box, to test you. And that is it. I've completed my task.
A task assigned by whom?
Your patron.
My patron?
A man of your talents does not go unnoticed in this town.
I mean, flatter me some more, Scarlet, but... Patron? Can I know what they look like? Do I know who they are?
If you do not know them already, you will get to know them very soon. And very well.
Are they cute?
I have dwelled on these streets far too long. Have yourself a wonderful night, Kokuro.
Scarlet, how can I reach back out to you? If I need you.
You can't, darling. I'll find you. And as she walks down the street, she starts whistling, and you hear her muttering, you know, I prefer the silence over that damned song.
I start plucking the tune of the song of the ballad.
As she walks away and hears you, that's your performance check?
It's
Nice.
not that great.
You forgot to tune your instrument.
I'm nervous. It's the first time.
All right. She pauses for a moment as you pick up your instrument and start playing the notes, and she turns to you, doesn't completely turn around, just kind of turns her head to one side and says, I do hope you have the strength and the wit to write your own song one day, Kokoro. Truth.
That you can count on, milady. And he'll kind of just like tip his little hood and do a little bow.
And she continues down the street, and as she walks away, all you see is a slowly vanishing ember of her pipe as she rounds a corner.
Smoking's bad for you. Bad for you.
As you're left alone on the street holding this box and this with a pink feather, what is going through Kokoro's mind?
I am extremely confused. So I think he would probably try to find or stay in the alley somewhere that it's like covered in shadow and kind of sit down, take a shamisen off, put it to the side, take the box out, and really admire this box and open it, take a look at the feather, take the feather out, look at the feather.
Go ahead and make an investigation roll for me, please.
Oh, I'm very good at that.
All right, 12. One thing you notice, aside from the box being very expensive itself, you look at the mother of pearl inlay pattern on top, and it's a strange beast, not one that you recognize, certainly not one that you would think is native to the Dreamwood. It has a distinctive single horn on it, though, and what looks to be wings. And when you take a look at the feather itself, you realize that the feather, although it might have come from a real creature at some point, has been painted this pink. And it seems very old.
Painted pink feather. And the box had a horn like an animal's horn or like a instrument horn?
So, no, the beast that the mother of pearl pattern is the shape of a beast with wings and a single horn.
Oh, beast
on its head.
A single horn. Okay.
I mean, if you didn't know any better, like from growing up, it could have been like a cross between a Pegasus and a unicorn.
That's what I was assuming. Okay. And I will spend the next couple of minutes trying to both replicate the box and the feather with minor illusion, just so I can get really good at studying it, replicating it. So in case for whatever reason we need to show this to somebody or have them take a look at it, I can almost like make a perfect copy of this so I don't have to use the real one.
Okay.
Unless I absolutely need to.
And where do you put the real one after you finished investigating it?
How big is this box? Like we're talking like this big?
Yeah, it's maybe 3 inches, like 3 or 4 inches wide,
Like a
3 inches.
cigarette packet, maybe?
A little bit bigger. A little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger than
if you stack maybe 2 or 3 of them up, that's about how big it is.
Okay, so it's like thicker, but lengthwise.
Yeah, it's maybe 3 or 4 inches long, 3 inches deep, or wide, and a couple inches deep.
I'd probably put it in my coat pocket for now.
Okay, it'll fit in there with the feather inside.
It just goes deep. Oh yeah, with the feather inside.
Okay, there is no locking mechanism. It's just kind of a hinged lid. That's all it is. There's no lock. All right. So with a little bit of practice, you managed to replicate it quite accurately using your minor illusion spell. cantrip. Um, it's at this point in time where you start hearing raised voices coming from down the street. Almost sounds like people arguing.
Can I sneak up to kind of peek, but not really show myself?
Sure, it's a couple blocks away, so you need to travel a little closer to it.
Okay,
Go
I'll,
go
I'll,
ahead.
I'll make my way, but sneakily, stealthily.
Go ahead and make
Well,
that stealth roll.
I'm I'm already bright enough ish. Okay, give me something good. Oh my gosh,
Right.
anything above a 10 today, please.
All right. So you hug the shadows of the buildings approaching this place. And as you approach, you see a sign clearly above it, kind of like a hanging sign that reads the Copper Vat. And from it, you can smell immediately the scent of spices, cinnamon, clove, and orange. This place is famous for its mulled wine.
He starts drooling, just a little bit.
At this point, just as you approach the entrance, you see a small crowd starting to gather in front of this building, which is odd because the rest of the streets up until this point have been pretty much deserted. And inside, you clearly hear a woman's voice yell, "Get off that damn stool and do something."
Okay. Where am I right now with that stealth roll? Am I like right before the crowd? Am I kind of like part of the crowd right now?
I would say you're kind of behind the crowd still.
Okay.
They aren't really paying you much attention. They're more interested about what's going on inside the tavern.
Okay. Okay. Is there any windows I can peek through, or is it like pretty much like covered by people there? Like the only way I can.
If you want to peek through a window, you would clearly be seen by the crowd.
Okay, cool. So I guess I'm gonna try to just mix my way in the crowd and try to get up close. Again, not enough to be noticed by whatever is happening in there, but enough to take a peek at what's going on in there just because I'm curious. And I just, I like to have fun. Seems
All right.
like there's some drama in there. So
You peek in, and as you try and get closer, you feel a hand on your shoulder and tries to pull you back.
I immediately react and try to see who's like behind me.
You see a Mapak standing there, little burlier, more rotund than muscle. Says, I'd stay out of that one if I were you. She's
Meatball, good to see you. What's happening in there, bud?
It's yeah, just she's in a bit of a fury right now, and we're just waiting for things to calm down a bit, and then we'll have a word.
Who is she?
Then he seems to notice you for the first time. As you're not from around these parts, are you now?
I'm from around these parts, those parts, them parts, everywhere parts. I get around.
He looks at your Samson and says, "You're one of them bard types, aren't you?"
I mean, I am a performer. I am a professional. Don't just lump me in with all of those bar types. Meatball, come on, you know better than that.
My name's not Meatball.
Could have fooled me.
No,
What's your name?
that's no concern of yours, especially. Listen, there's something odd going on now. It's got the people a little stirred up, and it's not good. This is a friendly warning to you. It's not a good time to be a stranger in these parts.
How can I not be a stranger then?
He kind of takes a step back and looks at what you're wearing. Well, for starters, I mean, you're a little flamboyant.
Well, thank
Eh,
you. Meatball, give me a second, and I'm just gonna try to just go back around a corner, and I'm gonna pull out my disguise kit and just try
Okay.
to do the best that I can to look like I fit in.
All right. Go ahead and make another performance check for me, please. With advantage, so you can roll this one again.
Okay, thank you. Please, Lord.
All right. Nicely done. 18. So you take a few moments to go around the corner to make yourself fit in more. These people are common folk. This is a rougher part of the Tangle, more of the like the tanners, the smiths, the woodworkers. It's more tradesfolk.
Okay.
And you clearly do not
Do
look
not
like
fit.
a tradesman. um, so you do your best to like dull down your colors, perhaps, and
Yeah.
put a little dirt
I'll take my
on
hood
or
off
whatever.
too. Take my hood off too.
Okay.
Put some dirt on my face, like everywhere.
All right. And so you come back around the corner, and they're still arguing inside. Go ahead and make a perception check for me, please, just to see if you can catch what the argument is about.
Oh my gosh. These digital
Wow,
dice.
these rolls are not in your favor tonight.
That's
Better than-
okay, because I make up with it with a lot of charisma.
You have a hard time hearing what's going on there, aside from the raised voices, and you hear another woman's voice kind of interjecting, almost a little more gravelly, a little perhaps more older, trying to interject, and then the original woman, just kind of screams at her, "Get out of my face, Winnie! This is none of your concern." And you can see the crowd outside the copper vat just kind of.
How close is Meatball to the door?
Everyone's kind of standing maybe 10 to 15 feet back away from the entrance.
From the entrance? Okay. Can I can I make my way into this place and just pretend like I'm just like I'm just like I'm like I'm just very drunk and I'm just trying to get in there because I just need another drink, and the place that I was at just they closed, and now I just need a drink, and there's a lot of people here, so it seems like it's got to be a good place, right? And I just walk in.
All right. Go ahead, either make a performance or a deception check.
I am going to make a. This probably be deception, I guess.
All right.
Let's give that a shot. And okay, yeah, I'll leave it for now.
All right. So as you stumble past the crowd, a couple of them kind of clock you, but they just say another drunk local coming in for last call at the copper vat. Not too unusual. No one really stops you. And as you enter, you see sitting at the bar, a servant wearing a chain shirt, perhaps, looking rather abashed, as another servant woman. Both of them are later on in their years, not, I wouldn't say old, but middle-aged. And she is just ripping into him. And the poor man, old Bog, sitting at the bar, is just kind of taking it for now, not really saying much. And you see behind the bar a grouse like the proprietor of the copper vat. You can tell that she's trying to interject, but she was the one that was screamed at just moments ago. and she just kind of is just there, clearly listening in on the conversation. You can see the servant woman just looking at her, glaring, like if she had daggers, like shooting daggers at her, like she'd be dead 10 times over by the
Oh, wow.
looks that she's been giving her. And as you walk in, they all stop because no one else is in the tavern at this moment. It's just the three of them. And they all turn to you. And the woman just almost yells at you. You're almost right. You're maybe 5 feet from her now. She just turns and she is in a rage. Who the hell are you?
Well, this isn't where I parked my carriage, but it smells so good in here. Hello, can I please have I just need just one more mulled wine, please. Just the one. Just the one. How much for a mulled wine? Good evening. Hi.
What do you do with your instrument? Did you try and hide that to your assumption?
Probably as best as I could, like under my coat, maybe. Like I put my coat over it.
Okay, all right. You see Winnie, the proprietor, kind of just wave you over quickly as the servant woman quickly ignores you.
I like Jack
Jack Sparrow past her. And you can see Winnie just passes you quickly a glass of mulled wine. Says, "You'd be risking your life there, young man. Just stay back here and be quiet."
Yes, man. And I'll just kind of take a seat, and I want to pay for my drink.
Okay,
for sure, like right there.
Right.
And I kind of want to take a seat and just again kind of like peripheral the things, and then just drink my wine, kind of just trying to see what's going on.
All right. As you sit there and try to overhear and not overhear this argument between the two servants, you hear a bit of a commotion outside, and it kind of distracts the woman and everyone and Winnie, and as everyone kind of turns their attention back to the door, and you see walking in, you have been around the Jowa tree enough to recognize the wardens, the ones who are the spiritual protectors of this tree. Three of them walking straight in to the tavern. And as they do so, you can see the crowd of people outside kind of stream in behind them, kind of pressing up against the door, not quite entering, but they're all just clearly interested. Nosy, yeah. As the three of them enter, and all conversation once again stops. And that's where we're going to end our session.
What? Why?
So we got you into the copper vat, and then we just have 2 more next week.
We got to get meatball in the copper bat.
All right, so I'm just going to stop our session here, and I guess we'll see you in in a week and a half, just over a week.
I know, I'm so excited.